and welcome to the show. You're on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. I'm Jacquelene Closemore, coming to you live from my lounge room in Melbourne. What a time. What a year. What a decade. Just existing, basically. Big thanks to my son for getting me a tequila multi-pack. And my favourite one is actually this one here. It's a Patron multi-pack, Añejo. Yeah, I'm really liking that one. It's I'm new to tequila, so it's going to be interesting. Not that I drink a lot, but I hope you've been enjoying the possibly silly season and also the single-handed climate reduction of emissions by Greta Thunberg in the last 24 hours. Mr. Andrew Tate is a very, I'm not going to call him interesting. He's kind of disturbing, actually. Romania has really, really lax laws about protecting women, and yet he's on charges for human trafficking and possibly rape, allegedly, in that country. He's long been an influencer of young men, which is disturbing because he's actually incredibly misogynistic. So it's kind of interesting when someone is so righteous, self-righteous, not really righteous, but definitely self-righteous, definitely sort of feeling entitled to be that angry that they let slip where they are via a pizza box, of all things, like involving pizza shops over the last couple of decades and conspiracies around them. Here's one handed, here's him having a rant at a 19-year-old who owned him in a reply tweet to something he was going after her and trolling about in the first place. She's only 19. He's gone after her. And via his own ranting, it's taken 2 minutes in that video. Oh, look, there's the pizza shop he bought his pizza from, and that's how the police over there got him, and they've now arrested him. So one can only hope, but what a way for the year to go out. Talking about interesting things happening in 2022 and moving to 2023, when we're looking at things you'd like to change, might be good to start on the individual level and kind of look at, all right, well, rather than making New Year's resolutions of things, big plans, like I'd like to rid the world of oppression and, I'd like to get the environment back under control and all that sort of thing, which is really important things to be working towards. But on an individual level, what can we do just that little bit more in the right direction ourselves? So when we're making New Year's resolutions, it might be good to look at how sustainable that is, that resolution you're making, and how likely is it you're going to go through with that. In some ways, New Year's resolutions can be destructive if you're not sticking to them and making a really grand gesture, and then it's like, oh, defeated day one. It might be better to sort of start with, well, what are the things that I'm starting to change and I think I'm doing okay at, that I reckon I can do a bit more of that change? That might be easier for you. This time of year also can be quite difficult for people, particularly over the Christmas period, to do with missing loved ones who've passed, or dramatic and difficult separations of family. So if you've had people around you who've been a bit down of late in this last week or so, might be good to kind of, hey, how are you going? What can I involve you in that maybe lifts your mood? That sort of thing. And I think maybe if we put on our New Year's resolutions to look at how what we're doing is helping others and helping our society, as well as making us feel good, rather than just, go get them type thing, or, this sort of limited thinking of, I still believe what I believe despite receiving new facts and information. And one of the things as psychics developing need to be kind of wary of is unconscious bias. I started the show like that, hey? But, and things like that, sort of clouding our view of things. It's really kind of helpful if we can keep off extreme views ourselves. But at the same time, with so much extremism going on around the world in so many forms, and authoritarianism becoming, much more prevalent, and democracy is becoming much more, angled to the hard right, it's hard as a psychic to kind of not be affected by that in some way. So a really good thing to do at this time of the year is actually to put energy into tuning out from a lot of that, just long enough to reboot your system before maybe taking on what you can. And I think it's really important as well to work out what things you can take on board and what things you need to go, that's quite enough right there. It's also really important for psychics, particularly to clear their energy out at least once a year in a much bigger way than the daily, and even sometimes if you're working with clients, hourly type of thing. And to actually reset your energy by just tuning out from lots of people, and to go off to the beach or go off to the mountains or go off to the river or the lake or wherever it is that you feel really, clear or that you feel you can let go of things, and to go in that kind of process over this next couple of days while we're also in a Mercury retrograde. So we're ending the year 2022 and starting the year 2023 in a Mercury retrograde. Fun times. But, we can use this time to really reflect on, well, what was 2022 for me and what's the last decade been for me, and what I want to walk forward with. What I want to just go, no, that's enough of that. I'm going to start working towards changing that. And I think with your resolutions, if you fall down one day on something you really want to change, that's today. Maybe sort of get up in the morning and know that the morning is a new day, and that you can start back on that path. And I think particularly when your gut instinct's telling you that's the right path to follow, if you fall down a bit, well, who doesn't fall down in life? It's about getting back up again and getting up until you don't fall down again. So that's a way of maybe looking at some of the things you're trying to manifest in your life. And I think one of the things we can fall down at as psychics is maybe giving people hall passes. Maybe thinking someone like Andrew Tate's funny when he's actually quite disturbing, and maybe kind of reflecting on how our own attitudes need to change within ourselves. And sometimes, actually looking at our own participation in the things that we've been through, as traumatic as they might be. It's like, all right, well, what am I doing to change my response to that? What am I doing to value myself more, or to place boundaries where they're important, or to say, no, that's not actually okay? Because a lot of the toxic positivity is about, oh, well, everyone's right and we're all one and it's all kind of good. And it's like, no, there are some things in society that just are not good. Start the show talking about it. And I think that when we're looking at saving the environment and saving the world, we kind of have to look at coming from equality of the sexes, equality for people who are different to us, and actually looking at the similarities and complementing things about each other, as well as accepting and really respecting our differences, that those differences can be okay too. But, if we're wanting to change the world, we have to start by changing ourselves and our response and reactions to others, and our ability to empathise, which is often not the case in people who are extremely hard right, whether they be racist, whether they be highly sexist. There's an extremism and a hate going on there. And it's sort of a difficult balance for us, being more left-leaning, as we might call it, and certainly more humanistic, to be able to look at that and go, I can see how they got there, but I'm not going to allow that to dehumanise me or to radicalise me, or I'm going to look at what I'm doing and whether this is complicit in encouraging that, either by apathy or actually going out and saying, yeah, man, that's hilarious. We talk about political correctness. You sort of hear that term, but what is political correctness? Is it just the fact that finally we're starting to treat people as equals, and you don't like that? These are the things to sort of think about. What do you want to change about yourself? And in changing yourself, what ripple effect will that have on people around you? What do you want those changes to be coming out of 2022, going into 2023, and what do you want that to look like? That's the sort of things I'd be meditating on. And there are things like treasure maps or vision boards. They're the same thing, called different names, that you can create to really look at what you want to manifest in your world. I suggest a lot of reading, from really established people with really good ideas around society and things like that. If you're looking at what you want to change in yourself, it can be good to look at history, and where we were and how things quite often do repeat. Certain themes repeat if we fail to learn the lessons of history. And as psychics, it's actually handy to look at history because on just a purely logical level, it's like, okay, this sort of thing's manifesting again, and this is the pathway that went down last time. and it can actually give you even more insight than your instincts. And combining logic and instincts is really important. But vision boards, that's where you're putting on the board the things you're wanting to manifest, and it's good to put that in a positive framework, not I don't want, but this sort of thing. Try not to be too specific, because things can get really weird, but putting together your general ideas of the things you're wanting, and then just leaving it up there on a board on the wall somewhere. And allowing that to become part of you. Don't manifest on, don't sort of ruminate on it too much over and over and over, because it will just kind of become more of a block. So put the vision out there, do the meditation, and then let it sort of be there. That's how I would do that. Anyway, Happy New Year's. Congratulations on getting to this point in 2022. And I'll catch you next year. In the meantime, more shows on A1R Psychic Radio, Moonstruck TV, the rest of this afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on where you are. Catch you next time. See ya.